Welcome to the Green Building Show, where we investigate green design and building trends throughout Australia.
This week, we wrap up our kitchen and bathroom design series. I'll be speaking with Nadia Hursky, a kitchen designer working with Blue Tea design firm, who's going to explain how to create a fit-for-purpose kitchen for any space. In Australian Style, we bring you one of our most popular podcasts, where Amanda Faulkner, the Light Home editor, spoke with Ambassador Caroline McFarlane about a home which was not only lightweight, but managed to conquer a difficult block. I'm here today with Nadia Hursky. She's the head designer of design firm Blue Tea. Thanks for being with us, Nadia. So we're talking today about design trends. I guess trying to give some people some practical advice on how they can go about creating their own new kitchen. I guess what's one of the first things someone should consider when they go about, when they start to first think about creating a new kitchen?
I think people need to consider the purpose. So what they're trying to create before they start to create it, because everyone's got a slightly different purpose. So getting that is fundamental. And then secondly, not thinking too much about the colour scheme or materials, just getting the layout right, so getting the bones of the kitchen right and understanding how it's going to function, what's going to happen in the kitchen, where the dishwasher is going to be okay, that sort of thing.
Correct, and I guess what aspect, without doing a complete kitchen overhaul, I guess what aspect of change can they do, that would have the most impact? Would it be changing the colour palette? Would it be changing the appliances? Would it be changing the benchtop materials?
I think that's personal once again. Like if you like to cook a lot, then you're going to notice a big difference if you change your appliances. So if you're in the kitchen using your appliances every day and you want to update them, that's going to make a difference to your life. But if you're more of an aesthetic person, you don't use a kitchen that much, just something like a kitchen makeover, so changing the door colours, the door materials, bench tops can be a little bit tricky to change. So if you just want a quick makeover, I'd probably do the doors.
And in terms of trends, it seems that streamline and simplicity has been trends of late. Is that the way it's still headed?
I think so, but I think people are going to add a lot more richness to it. I think people are going to get bored of just seeing a really minimal kitchen, so I think there's going to be more texture in it. I think details of the cabinets are going to become popular as well. Like instead of just having a square on the floor, I think people are going to consider how the cabinets made, where the shadows fall, the door handles, that sort of thing. So I think there's going to be more details.
Okay, great.
Keeping it clean lines.
Fantastic. And I guess, in your opinion, what's the fundamentals of a good kitchen design? What makes a good kitchen design?
Functionality, so you want the kitchen to function as a kitchen, and then a harmony of materials, so getting the right combination of materials. Okay,
and how does someone find the balance between aesthetic appeal and functionality? Is that a really fine line to balance?
I don't think so. I think if you focus on the function first, like making sure the kitchen works first, and then adding the layers of materials.
Great, so function first.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And does the kitchen draw influence from other parts of the house, or is it kind of a standalone area which you can just sort of do your own with?
In the past, I think people just focus on kitchens, just being a kitchen, but I think the trend is now to make it more part of the whole interior scheme. I think in the upcoming year, I think we'll see the kitchen, people considering things like the ceiling, like the floors, the lighting, and a lot of kitchens these days are open plan, so it's becoming part of the living space as well. Okay, great.
And what's your take on materials? I mean, what materials are we seeing a growing popularity of? I was told by someone else that the engineered rock is kind of on its way out, or it's sort of reached its peak as such. Are we seeing?
I don't believe that. I think it's still a good product. Like it's stain resistant, scratch resistant. It's tough. they are changing the look of it, so it's becoming to look more like a natural stone. I think birds are going to be more popular because the maintenance on natural stones, you have to maintain it. People don't want that, so I think we'll see the look of natural stone coming in.
Okay, great. And what role in your expertise as a kitchen designer, I guess, what are you seeing in terms of sustainability? Are you seeing a growing need for people who want sustainable kitchens?
Definitely. I think the problem is that in Australia there's not enough. I think there's a lot more potential for innovative materials that are sustainable, but I think it needs to come at a cost point. So people always are considering the cost in the kitchen design.
So I guess cost is still the fundamental driver for.
Yeah, I don't think that'll change, but yeah, I think there is a great need to find innovative materials that are cost effective.
Okay, great. And I guess what is a sustainable kitchen in your opinion? Is it energy efficient appliances or engineered stone benchtop or?
Yeah, it's a whole mix of things. So yeah, as you said, the engineered benchtop. Laminex has got an E0 board, so it doesn't emit off gas into your house. So I think with polyurethane, I think it's going to go down that path as well. Like we're going to find paints that don't off gas. Also, like what people are doing with their kitchen when they take it out. So because that's just landfill as well. So I think there's going to be a big movement of recycling existing kitchens, and there's already websites that cater for that, and they're becoming popular.
Do you think there's any fundamentals? I mean, obviously every kitchen is different, and you go and you measure them up and you find you cater for that person, fit for purpose.
Yeah.
But is there any key fundamental kitchen design functions or aspects that sort of are the same for every kitchen?
Access to the fridge. You just want it to be easy and streamlined. You don't want it to be in the middle, hard to get to. Dishwasher door, you don't want that to block paths when people are in the kitchen. Drawers are always good because they're ergonomical and easy to get things into and out of. Yeah, sometimes I think people overdo it with cabinets. I think, there's something nice about a simple, minimal kitchen that's not cluttered.
Yeah, and you touched on earlier that cabinet materials are changing or something like that. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
I think the look of it's changing, so I think we've seen a lot of gloss lately, and I think in the future, in the next year, it's going to be more satin-based, flat finishes. I think we'll move away from lots of colours, it'll be more texture-based. So already there's brands that are manufacturing Laminex in a textured way, which I think will make be popular.
So you'd say, in terms of colour palette, we're talking more neutral, earthy colours?
Yeah, I think white is always going to be popular in Australia, but I think there's going to be an introduction of more natural timber-looking materials as well.
Great, fantastic. All right, final question, I guess. What would be one piece of advice if you're at a dinner party or something and someone they say, you're a kitchen designer, what can I do with my kitchen without actually knowing their kitchen? What's one piece of advice you think you could give them?
They're going to get a lot of advice from friends and family, and not all of it's going to be accurate. So I think really be true to what you're trying to do, and just be realistic as well with your budget and your dreams. Yeah.
Great. Nadia, thank you for your time.
No problems.
We're wrapping up our bathroom series this week, Vic. What's hot?
All right, well, if you are thinking of not completely renovating your bathroom from scratch, but you just want to give it a quick kind of refresh, you just might want to look for some colourful, cheapish kind of products. So I've got a few for you here. For example, the BOGO Brush toothbrush, which is $10, and I think half of all profits sold go to charities around the world, and there's a big kind of fundraiser that has been going on for that. So that's a great little thing to buy. It's bamboo, it's great. You could get this Lunar Tumbler toothbrush pot in green. It just kind of zhushes up the bathroom. Also go for a bamboo mat, obviously made of part bamboo fabric. Beautiful. This one's green, but go crazy with colour. You could get really kind of Italian and a little bit Moroccanish and go for this Marrakesh bin feature item in the bathroom. And for some major kind of tackiness, you could go for some red loo roll. These are from the UK, from redcandy.co.uk, and it's a bit different.
I'm Amanda Faulkner and welcome to Light Home. Today I'm speaking to Design Ambassador Carolyn McFarland about a project that she's chosen, which was designed by Scott Carpenter Architects, and it's called the Banzai Residence, and it's at Salt Village. Where on earth is Salt Village, Carolyn?
Salt Village is near Kingscliff, just south of the New South Wales-Queensland border. So as a contrast to my last house that I picked, which was down on the south coast, this one is up in the top of northern New South Wales.
And why do you think it's a great example of a light home?
This one is, in contrast to the ones I picked before, it's a house which is in the sort of subtropics area. And I think it's a great example because it uses the advantages of what you can do with a light home with a orientation of a block which is not quite ideal. So the block, the orientation of the block the house is on, the long sides actually face east and west, which is sort of opposite that you want. So you've got all this exposure to the east and the west, and the architect has heavily used the light home construction to make this work for their advantage and make a comfortable house to live in.
Okay, so let's pick up on that then. So how have they done it? What have they done to work with that less than optimal orientation?
So what they've done, they've actually orientated the main living areas and the main bedrooms to the north. So the north is sort of where the rear of the garden is, if you look at the photos. So the main living area, the outside room, they do get the north orientation, and there's a little pop out on the side near the pool where they've got, that also gets north orientation. They've got the long side to the east, which has a large sort of glassed void area. So there's a lot of glass on the outside. That's controlled with louvers on the outside to control the sun in the mornings. That void also brings in light into the plan of the house. So you still get sort of the northern light coming into the centre of the plan. But they also use ventilation. So they've got lots of louvers so you can get air movement through. The actual upstairs walls are actually double thickness. They're 200 mils thick, which is like 20 centimetres thick, and they've jam-packed that full of insulation. So it's a really well-insulated box. And the choice of material, so it's up the top is clad with timber. Now, timber is not a great conductor, which means it doesn't absorb heat and retain it and then reabsorb it. It sort of just lets it, it doesn't sort of bring all of that heat that it hits during the day and takes it back into the house. So it's a clever choice of materials, and it's, you know, using the light homes that you can actually get a really thick cavity and fill it with insulation.
Well, Carolyn, thank you very much, and thank you also for all of the choices that you've made over the last year. We really appreciate it.
That's a pleasure, and I hope everyone has enjoyed looking at them.
Okay, great, Carolyn. Thank you.